Hello, my darklings. It's me, Cherry. Thanks for coming back again. Today we've got my July 2019 What Am I Listening To picks. These are my music recommendations from the past month. And typically I split these out into 3 different categories: guitar-based, synth-based, and other. This month I just have guitar and synth-based choices for you. Please make sure to check out in the description. I do have a link to a Spotify playlist of my chosen songs for each of these albums. And if you aren't a Spotify user, I do also have links to all of these albums in the description as well. So please check them out. We're going to go ahead and get started first and foremost with our guitar-based picks. First up is a band called Cellar and their album The Spell. My personal choice from this album is the title track, The Spell. And this trio previously was a part of the metal band Anksiyete. They use a hurdy-gurdy, traverse flute, and hammer dulcimer to produce a unique and almost medieval feeling sound, along with their traditional rock instruments. I recommend you listen to this album from start to finish, because if you listen to the lyrics, it tells a dark fairy tale in lush detail. Second up on our guitar-based list is the band Bragolin, and their new album, I Saw Nothing Good, So I Left. My personal choice from this album is Into Those Woods. And this is the debut album from this post-punk, dark wave, Netherlands-based duo. This was a very cohesive album, and I found that the singer had a striking voice, but it wasn't abrasive. That can be a difficult balance to achieve. And I also found there was a good mix of both upbeat and down-tempo tracks on this album. Third on the list is the new album from the band She Passed Away. This new album is titled Disko Anksiyete, and my chosen track was La Maldad. This is a solid third full-length album from the Turkish duo, and I believe it shows a lot of growth for the duo. It is a solid listen through. I didn't feel like there were any particular tracks that were weak. And they're touring in the United States right now, so if they're coming anywhere near you, I highly recommend you go see them live. When I went to go see them in Chicago, their flight from New York had been canceled early that morning, and instead of canceling their sold-out show, they hopped in a rental car and drove over 14 hours to get to the venue and play the show. I was absolutely blown away and have endless respect for these guys, so definitely check them out. Fourth on the list is The Foreign Resort and their album Outnumbered. My personal choice from this album is the song Obsessing. And this is a Danish trio who describe themselves as having a dark new wave feel mixed with a bit of post-punk. I have to say, of the guitar-based picks, this was an incredible album and probably my favorite listen from start to finish. It felt like each track got better than the last. Their driving bass, dancing guitar, and sultry and sassy vocals combine into a mix that hits me similarly to the way that Susie Sue does. Last but not least on the guitar-based list is the band VR Sex and their album Human Traffic. My personal choice was the track Made in China, and this is the debut album from this group. I find them a bit hard to quantify, but I really enjoyed their sludgy guitar, solid vocals, and strong drum backing. They are at turns gritty and melodic, and feature introspective but catchy lyrics. Next up, let's move along to our synth-based choices. First up is the band Massive Ego with their release Church for the Malfunctioned. My personal track favorite was Fallen from Grace. And This new release from the UK synth pop trio gives us a much harder and EBM style than their previous releases. The album is both politically and religiously driven at times, but I very much enjoyed it. Second on our Synth-Based list is the band Accessory with their album Elektrik. My personal track choice was Mr. Fucker. This solid German EBM duo has given us a cohesive listen with this new album. It has a fun feel, it is full of dance floor fodder, and to be honest, I had a difficult time choosing my favorite track. There were multiple that I enjoyed enough to put on my list, but I found Mr. Fucker was my favorite. Third up on the list is the band Stoppenberg with their new release Frontschlag. My personal favorite track from this album is the song Anyone Else, which actually featured vocals from Daniel Graves. Stoppenberg is a side project from Jan Loomfield of X-Fusion and Noise Effects fame. This album featured great hype-up music. It was high energy, and the feel I really got from it was basically no fucks given and no fucks taken. Fourth up on the list is the band Korine with their album New Arrangements. My personal favorite here was the track Captive. This is a Philly-based synth-pop duo, and this is their first full-length album. I really enjoyed the juxtaposition they presented with darker lyrics paired with upbeat synths. I enjoyed the vocal stylings, which featured a smooth but edgy sound. I also found it extremely nostalgic, as it rang very 80s true to me. Last up on my synth list is the band Torul with their new released Hikikomori. And my favorite pick from this album was Bad Boy Dreaming. The title of this sixth album from the Slovenian electro trio is Japanese for the abnormal avoidance of social contact, typically used to characterize a young male. I really enjoyed this album. It was extremely cohesive. I definitely recommend you listen to it in full. So thank you so much for joining me for this July 2019 edition of What Am I Listening To? My music recommendations. Please again check out the description below and leave me a comment. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and definitely tap that bell. And please stay lovely. I'll see you next time.